This is James Dutton for Round 8 Boxing. Delighted to be joined with Jamie Moore. Jamie, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, thanks. You?
Stuff, yeah, very well good. Thank you, mate. Dave Allen, Makradov. Dave said he picked this fight because it scared him the most. It sounds crazy, but to talk to me about this fight.
Yeah, he's true. It's exactly the reason why I picked him. I sort of get it. He's at that stage of his career, not just the stage of his career, but in general. Dave's spoken openly about his struggle or his troubles with committing himself to the sport in terms of from a training point of view, dedication point of view. I can't fault him for this phase of his career where he sort of came to me. It had sort of gone on and off for about 4 years where he'd trained with us. The fight fell through behind closed doors in lockdown. He decided to knock it on the head. He came back to me about 6 weeks before the Fraser, 5 weeks before the Fraser Clark fight, and said, "Listen, I've been offered this fight. It's in 5.5 weeks time, I think it was. I've took it. Will you train me for it?" And in hindsight, it was probably thinking, I've not really got much of a chance because I'm not going to be fit, and I know Jamie won't let me get hurt. I think that's probably what his line of thinking was, and he was right. I wouldn't have let him get hurt. I let him stay in there as long as he possibly had a chance of winning because he can whack. But when it got to the point in the fight where he really had no chance of winning, I wasn't just going to let him stay in there for another 4 or 5 rounds and just get beat up for no reason. So I pulled him out, and then he had some little tick over fights, 4 rounders, just staying busy. And the idea was he just said just in case a big fight comes up. So when the Johnny Fisher fight came up, I got to know him so much over those sort of 2 or 3 years, and I said to him, "Listen, Dave, I will train you for it, but you need to commit yourself properly because this is a dangerous fight. He can really punch, and I don't really want to be involved unless you're going to take it properly, seriously." And he was like, "I promise you, Jay, that I'm on it. I need to do this. I need to change my life. I've got kids now, blah, blah, blah." And God, has he committed himself. And I'm pretty sure he fucking hates it still. But in many ways, he enjoys the stuff around it. We've got a great gym of fighters. They're all top lads. They all get on well, and I think they help each other. They drag each other through the tough days. So he is in a position now, massively in a position where he can change his life forever. Something what he probably thought 18 months ago was never going to be a possibility, and he's grabbing it with both hands. And I tell you what, I just wish everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that, and I don't think Dave would have listened to me or anybody when he was 24, 25. And I did see an interview once about him, and he said the only person I've ever listened to is Jamie. Now I know what Dave's like, and I feel like I know him inside out. That's a massive compliment to me. I don't know why he listens to me. No, I really don't know, but he just does. I don't know what he said. I don't know if it's a respect thing, but I just get him. I really do. I understand him, and the fear of him losing is what's making him train exactly how he needs to train. Even though he committed himself properly to the Johnny Fisher fight, he could have been a lot fitter. We just didn't have time. And he's done exactly what he needed to do in between. He's kept fit in between. He's carried that through into training camps afterwards. And God, the difference in him. I'm everyone can now see and starting to understand why 10, 12 years ago, people were saying to him when he was sparring, Davy Day and people like that, "Listen, you commit yourself to this sport and you'll be a world champion." And he hasn't done that. He's not been a world champion, but it's not too late, and he's getting better. I always talk for my fighters. I always talk about building a base, and then dependent on how big your base is, depends on the accomplishments and how far you can get and high you can climb. And I keep saying to him, nobody knows your ceiling because nobody knows how big your base can get yet because it's still growing because he's picked up all that ring craft over the years and now he's adding fitness and finesse and sharpness and timing. You know, he's got so much ring craft. So honestly, the sky's the limit, and I honestly believe he'll beat Makhmudov. I really do. I think, you know, I know he's a dangerous guy, but it's not like he doesn't get it. And I promise you, Dave Allen, fit, strong, ready to change his family's life, is a dangerous proposition.
Just out of interest, do you know who else was on that list? That was off of Dave.
There was a lot of good fighters on that list, and you know these fighters what have been spoke about, and in future they still, you know, I know Pulev we was trying to make Pulev for the WBA regular, and apparently he was in dispute in his contract, so there was no way of making that fight. Obviously, there was talk of Wilder and Parker and stuff like that, and that's the position he's put himself in. But I did say, you know, I know we can't turn those fights down if the opportunity comes up because they might never come again. But I would rather him have another fight or two beforehand because if we keep building on this momentum, what we've got, I've no idea how good he can be. I don't even think he understands how good he can be, and he's got a much better chance of pulling it off if when he gets that opportunity.
Do you think he can still become a world champion?
I do. I genuinely believe he can, and that's not because of what we've seen already, even though we have lately seen, you know, glimpses of how good he can be. But it's the potential of what he's got because of the way he's committing himself to the sport now.